We always have to offer hope of a better future in Singapore. An economy that creates opportunities for our people. A society that nurtures our people to the fullest potential. And a people who look to the future and not just back to the past. A nation where our children will live better lives than us, as we did our parents. We've done it in this generation, for this generation, with this generation. And it was brought home vividly to me recently in one MPS session when Mr. Topi Singh came to see me. He's a Teck Ghee resident. He works in the construction industry. He came to see me for some help because he needed a recertification for the construction safety orientation course. But he had a problem because he's illiterate. He can't read English, he can't read Chinese. He knows the safety rules, he can pass the exam, but he needs somebody to read the exam for him. So could I please write him a letter? So I happily wrote him a letter, then I had a chat with him and his wife after that. And he told me proudly that his 2 children were graduates. The daughter, Hui San, is an accountant with IRAS, this lady. And the son, Wei Xiong, is an A-star researcher. He graduated from Singapore Poly. He went to university overseas. Eventually, he earned a PhD from NUS. He was awarded an A-star international fellowship. He did a postdoc fellowship in Harvard. And now he's back, research scientist, Institute of Bioengineering and Nanotechnology. I believe researching the structure of bones. So Mr. To was happy that his children had done much better than himself. And his family reflects the experiences of so many other families in Singapore and epitomizes Singapore's transformation in one generation from third world to first, from somebody illiterate, never had a chance to learn to read, but brought up children have been to Harvard, researchers, working, doing well. But beyond the broad lessons, I'm sure you'll want to know what happened to Mr. To's MPS case. I got a reply from the NTUC Learning Hub, which was a training provider. They've automated their process now, so you don't need somebody to read the questions for Mr. To. They advised Mr. To to take the computer-based audio exam. So the computer will read the questions, and Mr. To can answer. And I'm happy to say that Mr. To passed the examination. I know that our people sometimes worry about the future. Can our children really do better than us? But if we take a step back and look at where we are objectively and see our situation in perspective, I think the answer is we are in much better shape than we give ourselves credit for. We have strong fundamentals. What do we mean? A world-class workforce, sound finances, a system that works. It's not perfect. Every now and then something goes wrong. And every time an MRT malfunctions, we are reminded of this. But we can fix these imperfections and we can keep on making it better. We may be very conscious of our shortcomings, but others have a high regard for what we've achieved. I met the president of MIT recently, Susan Hockfield. She was then about to retire, and she was going on a visit to many countries in Asia. She came here, I knew her, gave her dinner. And she told me how impressed she was with Singapore. She said, Singapore is the only country where you can see the full potential of the human spirit. And this is a person, head of one of the top institutions in the world, the brightest. She's got people from all around the world. She's traveled. She tells me this, completely unsolicited. I think we should give ourselves a little bit of credit. If we all work together and confidently tackle our problems, then I think we will improve our lives. On jobs, we are bringing in many new investments. We are creating new and better jobs. In fact, more jobs than we have persons to do them. We are strengthening the core of the workforce, the Singapore core of the workforce. We are offering new Singapore industry scholarships for Singaporeans to go to university and work for local companies, to build up our local companies. This year alone, 90 scholarships and more to come. We are upgrading our low-income workers, whether it's cleaning, security industries or others. The opportunities are there. Take advantage of them, upgrade yourselves to become more productive, to become more employable. Public transport. I mentioned MRT just now. We are making major investments in trains. $60 billion over 10 years. Many lines coming on. Thomson Line, work is going to start very soon. It goes from Woodlands to Marina Bay. The downtown line from Bukit Panjang to Changi Expo will open in phases starting next year. But train projects by their nature take time, major investments, and you have to plan well ahead. So while we do the trains, we are also working on the Bus Services Enhancement Program, BSEP. It was a little bit controversial when we announced it in the budget, but it's a good thing. I think it's the right thing to do, and it will benefit many, many Singaporeans. And the commuters should start to see new buses, new services, and better frequencies under the BSEP starting by next month, progressively as we phase in the additional buses and as we hire and train the new drivers. On aging and healthcare, new hospitals are on the way. Ng Teng Fong Hospital in Jurong and the next one in Sengkang, well under planning. We are building more nursing homes and daycare centers. But on your part, please make the effort. Keep fit, live healthily is the best and the cheapest health care anyone can provide himself. On housing, we are cutting the waiting time to book HDB flats, and I'm confident that nearly every Singaporean household can afford and can get their own home. We've done it before, we can continue to do it. There's enough space to accommodate the whole population, even as it grows somewhat. We're developing more housing estates. In the longer term, we will reclaim more land. And we're not just building flats, but creating better living environments with green spaces, blue waters, clear skies. And with your help, we are building stronger communities. It's communities where people live happily together, where people cooperate with one another. There's one thing I should mention apropos housing before I move on, and that is the question of housing for singles. It's something which is on the minds of many Singaporeans because the single numbers have gone up. Singles can buy HDB flats on a resale market and get a government grant, CPF grant, but they are not yet allowed to buy HDB flats directly from HDB. And I think this has caused some concern because resale prices have gone up. I fully understand these concerns. I should say MND also fully understands the situation, and I would also say Corbyn 1 is looking actively at the matter.